Today we're going to assemble the Vicehead Resinworks 55 Kenworth box tractor kit for you. This kit is a resin printed kit. It comes on the supports. You could easily use the supports to start your painting. I do myself. We do have some different pieces here. We're going to start by going over what they are. So we have two trucks here. One is a box truck and one is a tractor, as in a tractor trailer. So the two cabs here are the same. They both fit the chassis the same. So that's the good news there. You can mix and match them. You don't have to worry about having, specific parts for specific sets there. The chassis do have a little difference. The one with the fifth wheel here is for the tractor. The one without is for the box truck. So it makes it nice and easy there. You can identify which chassis is which. We have 4 wheels for the rear duals and another 4 for the rear duals. So it is set up as a tandem axle. If you wish to make a single axle box truck, you can easily cut the rear axle off of that chassis and the intermediate drive shaft to make it a single axle for the box truck. For the tractor, that's a little bit harder because the location of the fifth wheel is molded into the frame, so you'd actually have to move the whole axle assemblies. And if you are a skilled modeler, you could try that. If you're not, I wouldn't recommend it, but at least for the box truck, it's a nice easy modification to go to single axle. We have a set of fuel tanks over here. They again are not truck specific, so you can use these on either of them. This next item is the ICC bumper, or the rear bumper of the box truck, so that will mount on the back bottom of the box. There are, I don't even know if you can see them, they are absolutely tiny. A few mirrors here, 4 of them in total, and those would go on the sides of your truck. And when you come up here, you have your actual box and the bottom of the box. The bottom of the box is able to go into the box. So if you look, you'll see a little, this thing would stop spinning on me. See a little lip there. So that little lip is going to go into the bottom of the box. That allows us to print hollow, makes it lighter, makes it more cost effective because we're not filling this with resin. It actually gives you a better print when you hollow them out. And then you can paint the bottom rail right here of the box a different color if you want. Here would be 2 more fuel tanks. Unfortunately, this was a test print and those fell off. So there would be 2 more fuel tanks here for the other truck. And then you have your 2 exhaust stacks. The exhaust stacks have a little dimple in the end, so you can paint them your silver, chrome, whatever you want to do, and put a little black in there. And it'll hold black pretty nice and make it look just a hair more realistic. Again, as we mentioned earlier, this is the tractor chassis. And then there's a bumper. And then we have the box truck chassis. The last thing on here is the other front bumper up here. So these front bumpers actually can just glue in place on the bottom of the cab. They work out pretty well that way. So the first step is to start removing supports and then start painting the model. So I'm going to do most of the removal off camera, but all these supports here that would get in the way of painting, the supports on the sides of the tractors can come off, and then we'll throw our first rough coat of paint on it. I find it's really easy to do inside the wheels at that time, because inside the wheels, with the wheels mounted to the supports, makes it real easy. I also like to paint the bumpers pretty well, and the cabs are easy to paint that way too. If you want to paint individually, you can take your pair of track snippers and pretty easily cut the raft and still have the supports support the model. So that gives you something to hold it up while painting if you're going to airbrush it like you most likely would with the cabs. You can see my building skills are horrible, and most of my models I've done to this date have been hand painted, so an airbrush will give you much better results, and I'd highly recommend it for these. So we're going to paint this and prep it off camera for you, and then we'll come back and put it together. Okay, here we're going to go on to the assembly of the Vicehead Resinworks box and tractor 55 Kenworth kit. Two basic setups here. The box, bear with me, it's not painted. I'm not sure what I want to do with that yet. So I'm leaving it out unpainted, but I'll show you how it goes together. And we're going to go ahead and start with the tractor version. So we're going to take all this and slide it aside for now. Out of the way. So tractor's real easy. Done a bunch of these. So the wheels, put a little dab of glue on the axle, line it up, and put it in place. It's that simple. So here we go. These tractors are super easy to assemble. Little dab of glue, is that wheel in frame? It looks like it for now. And like that. If you hold it vertical for a minute, the glue will set and you'll have it where you need it. So we're going to put another drop on that axle. Come down here and get it nice and centered. If you've watched any of the other kits, you will know there is a little bit of play there, so you want to get it as centered as possible. The play is there in case you want to build it in place and have a little bit of off-camber terrain. Want to make it look like the suspension's working, which is, you know, for the tractor kit, might not be a big thing, but the dump truck, that's a great one for the dump truck, building it to your terrain, which adds a good bit of realism. A lot of the time when you take pictures of your trucks, you'll notice one of the wheels is a little high, one of the wheels is a little low. So as we're waiting for this to dry, the tractor kit doesn't come with a trailer, but we do offer some trailers. And that being said, the trailers have a little pin on the bottom, which I'll go ahead and give you a quick show of here if I can. See that little tiny pin? So that little tiny pin will go in to that hole in the fifth wheel. So most other kits you're going to be stuck gluing them in place and hoping for the best. However, this kit, you can actually have it articulate, pivot, and pose very easily without any detrimental effects whatsoever to the model. So that just makes things a lot nicer when you're trying to set these up in a scene, or if you're one of those guys who likes to change up the layout once in a while. You know, you put the vehicle down and then 3 months later, guess what, that vehicle's now doing its delivery on the other side of town, and or maybe it's driving down the road. Makes it very easy for that. So attaching the cab to the frame's as simple as right there. Line everything up where you want it, put a couple dabs of glue, blow on it a little bit. If it's a little heavy, because I am super heavy-handed, and it sticks. So there you go, you have a tractor going together. Take our bumper, and if you recall the other videos, if you put the bumper with the T-shaped pieces facing down, that's going to be more of a stock position. If you want to make the T-shaped pieces at the top, you can. That's going to give you more of a drop bumper. So if you're doing a more modern layout and you want that kind of classic vintage semi look here out of this model, you can easily throw a nice drop bumper in there by flipping the bumper upside down. You can go ahead and position it a little higher or lower on the chassis too if you want. I've been building them all lower. That's just how these trucks were spec'd, but like the dump truck, if I wanted to, I could put a little piece of styrene in here and space that up. Same thing with one of these tractors. If you want to make it a more off-road tractor, you know, one that would haul a lowboy to a job site, for example, that would be your option there. A couple little dabs of glue on the T's, and you can see that bumper is dried on. So the next thing we need to do is the exhaust, which I've gotten pretty good at. So we're going to come over here. We're going to make sure we're on the passenger side. We're going to put a little dab of glue in that area. We're going to take the exhaust pipe, Put it in where it needs to go, and just give it a little hold until it dries, which could be a moment. There you go. Exhaust pipe is on. And there is actually a hole in the top of the exhaust pipe there. You can put some black paint in if you want to add that little extra bit of realism to your scene. Anything of this area obviously isn't going to have emissions and is going to put out some black smoke. We do have some fuel tanks we need to go ahead and put on, which I'm pulling out here because this is a tractor. We are definitely going to go ahead and put both of these on now. So these can be a little finicky. I have not quite mastered them. And I've said it a few times, the fuel cap is slightly offset from the middle of the two pieces of supports. So the fuel cap would go towards the top of the supports there. So we'll put that one in its right orientation. They are slightly different, but I have not cared about the side specifics of these during any of these builds, and you probably won't notice the difference. So if you want to be real accurate, go for it. If you just want to go, hey look, it looks good, put it on whatever side you want. No one's going to notice. It'll be our little secret. If I could just hold on to things a little bit better. There we go. Let that dry out for a few seconds. So fuel tanks can go on either side. The fuel cap does face towards the upward side. One side it is slightly narrower on. Again, if you are upside down with it, most people aren't even going to notice. Then we're going to go ahead and try to get this other one on without me putting it in completely the wrong spot. There we go. And as I typically do, I'm going to use an obnoxious amount of glue, just way too much glue. But still going to turn out looking half decent, and that's what we're looking for. If you don't know I messed it up and I overused the glue, that means it is a good kit to build. Because not everyone's perfect. I know I ain't, and you probably aren't either. So the one thing I always do off cameras is add on the mirrors. I'm going to do that off camera, but there you go. You can see the tractor kit. I probably don't want to touch that too much. I'll put a little more glue on that. That fuel tank just moved. Could touch up these wheels. I put them all in the wrong spot where, you know, they're not painted there. So if you wanted to, you could easily go ahead and make these kits look a lot nicer by taking the time and painting every little bit of it, painting underneath and all that. But for now, I'm just really wanting to show you how they go together and what they're going to look like when they're done. So that'll work perfectly fine for what we're doing here. I'm going to get these mirrors on, and then we're going to show you the other one. Okay, here's our pile of parts for the box truck now. We have the box and the bottom of the box, frame of the box. So I'm going to pop that off the supports there. So these just simply go together like that. And as I said, I didn't paint these because I'm not sure how I want to paint them yet at this point, but we will get them painted and eventually. For now, they go together like that. A little bit of glue holds them together. This one is a little warped. Sometimes you will get, with the resin, you do get a little warpage depending on how it was exposed to UV light, which sunlight will affect it, but a little bend and some careful placement will simply fix that for you. So if anything is super warped, by all means, we are glad to help you out and replace or help you fix it. But that is the box, and we're going to go ahead and do the wheels again. Same thing as the last one. Go ahead and put a drop of glue on the axle, and hold it onto the wheel. So that's simple and easy. Let's knock out a few of these and get this one done, because it is the same process as the last 20 of these trucks I've built. And actually, I think this is only number 6 right now. This one's going to need a second to dry. And I've said before, I want to try to get these as close to center as possible. And if they're a little off, it's not going to hurt you. It will conform to your terrain, but it gives you the ability that if you want to build it in place, you can make it look like the suspension's moving by putting the wheels in the front or in the back, way high or way low. There's enough adjustment in the wheels to make it look like you have suspension. And there we go, we have a chassis assembled. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and toss the cab on, which you've seen me do this a couple times by now, but it's nice and easy. Go ahead, put it on here, line it up where you want the wheels. There's a little bit of adjustment there for you in case you want to work with a body that I didn't make or something. 2 tabs of glue and let it dry. There we go. And in case you're fast forwarding through or something, the CA glue is your best bet on these, so just so you're aware. Now I kind of lost one of the bumpers, so I have a spare bumper here, but it's not the right bumper. So follow the bumper instructions for the last one to go ahead and have it right, but we're just going to go ahead and kind of wing this here and put a small drop of glue on each fender. Attach this non-OEM style bumper. And this one's actually a little narrower. So if anyone asks, this particular rig gotten a bit of a wreck. He's a horrible driver. Look, I just put that on there horribly. But you know what? That's part of building models is, well, sometimes you make mistakes and you come up with little stories for them. Well, this guy hits everything. He's just, every fleet has that driver that no matter what you do, how many times you tell him, he's running things over, he's breaking things, he comes back with, you know, the truck smashed up, and there's just no fixing it, you know, it's just how he is. So this will be that driver for this fleet, and he's going to have a bit of a smashed up truck, which actually is fairly fitting because he's the box truck driver. They're usually the, you know, entry level guys in the company, but they also if they're going to do their job well, they got to have some skills, because box trucks are going in and out of the city, all that other good stuff. So, you know, and there's our fuel tank, 2 drops of glue, and just put it in place, let it sit and dry for a second. Last thing is going to be the exhaust, which every one of these I keep going, oh, I'm putting it on the wrong side, and double check myself, and I have yet to actually make the mistake of putting it on the wrong side. And if you do try to put it on the wrong side, doing this method by putting the glue down there and then holding the exhaust in place, will usually net you going, this doesn't fit very well. Hopefully you'll catch your mistake before it's glued in. If you blow on it a hair, usually helps it dry just a little quicker. And we obviously have mirrors to put on, which I always do off scene, because I'm not good with the mirrors. I am not. So the box here, after you glue it together and assemble it, that little square has that little square. Makes this assembly nice and easy. So you take your little square and you put it there and you flip it upside down, and that fits in between the cross members of the mid-axle. Nice and easy. So there you go. There's your little finished box truck here. There's one last little detail you might want to add, which is this ICC bumper. Paint them black, paint it body color, paint it silver, whatever you want. The big hefty part is the bottom. The small part the small part's the bottom, the big hefty part's the top. The big hefty part is going to be the rear rail for the box. So after you have the box in place, you simply just put a couple dabs of glue here and put it on. And we're going to try to show you that quick. Really depends how bad I butcher this coming off the supports here. So, and this I'm going to wind up painting with the box and paint it box color. I already know that. So I just don't know if I want to do a white box, the red box, or something completely different. So we're going to say our box is assembled and on our truck. A couple dabs of glue right at the edge. Go ahead and feel free to completely overdo it like I do. You take your bumper, take the big side facing the body, and there's a slope to the brackets. So you want to put them on there so the slope faces the right direction, and I'll show you that here in a moment as soon as I get this in. Just give it a little hold. Don't take much. And try to get it vertical, but again, it is a box truck, and this guy is the worst driver, so he probably bust up the rear bumper too. But hopefully there you can kind of see how there's a slight bump out on those vertical supports on either side. So that little slight bump out is going to make a difference in making the kit look as it's intended to look. So make sure you go ahead and have that lined up properly. And then your entire truck will be assembled, and we'll get you a little better shot here to show them what they look like. Okay, here's the box tractor, 99% assembled on the box. I'll put the mirrors on later. The tractor, you can see I messed up one of the mirrors, but it looks like a more modern style mirror. Get that back into the shot. So you can kind of see over here how this mirror is messed up. Looks like a more modern style mirror though. So that's, you know, that's kind of your vibe. You want to go with that by all means. It's a nice little easy thing to do. I just messed it up and decided to throw it on there anyway versus taking more mirrors apart and losing more mirrors. I'm great at messing those up. But other than a couple little mistakes that are completely my fault, these trucks are looking pretty good here. Box truck has the bent up front bumper there because I can't build it, but that's all good. And the tractor is looking great. So there's the rear of the box truck, rear of the tractor. Give you a good example of what they look like. You can also see the other two I built in the last video there. But we're going to take this trailer back and put this trailer in place for you quick, just to show you. I think I went a little heavy on the paint, but I got it in there enough quickly. So there you go, there's a little flat trailer, and you know, if you just want to go ahead and give him some kind of load, you can put a load right on there. You could have a vehicle, which I happen to have laying around, or you can have just about anything else that you want to put on there, be it a couple tires or some lumber. So a couple cool little kits there for you to build up and add some period correct details to your layout.